Thank you, everyone, for being patient and being here at such late hours in the day. Thank you, Mr. Kumar, Mr. Rathi, and Mr. Joshi for taking your time to sit here and listen to us. So I'm representing the LoRa Alliance as the co-chair of the marketing committee. I'm also the CEO of Senra. We're an IoT network provider for LoRaWAN in India. We've currently deployed our infrastructure in 65 cities. So as I'm sitting there, I started to get a lot of nuggets from experts in the field, and also I also identified some challenges with what's going on currently. For example, in the pipe monitoring process, it's a lot of data gathering, a lot of collaboration between the body boards, of water boards, trying to identify where the pipeline systems are, and then using a lot of science behind the fact of identifying when something will corrode. Also, on the mobile app side of the game, you need the data to come to it to be able to use the intelligence to make sense. We're kind of more at the infrastructure level. We're trying to actually transmit data, allow data to transmit so that these type of softwares can be using the data in real time and taking advantage of the powerful algorithms that it has. Now, before I go deep into some case studies that I have on the water space, I just wanted to kind of give a little bit of background on the LoRa Alliance itself. It's a nonprofit organization that opened and established in 2015 with some of the founding members. We've developed an open standard called LoRaWAN that is deployed globally across the world and is available online. You can go to their website and download the standards and specifications. We've also recently launched a certification program that will allow smart devices to comply with those standards and specifications and then give the end consumer the confidence that the solution will work. A little example on the coverage area globally, we're in about 143 countries. There's 133 operators in India. There's 2 public network operators for LoRaWAN. I run one of them, Senra, and then Tata Communications is the other one. And now there's also specifications that have been launched for other APAC areas like Indonesia, Vietnam, Philippines, and so forth. The great thing about LoRaWAN is it's a complete IoT solution. It's from the chipset level all the way to the system integrators and everything in between. You really have the flexibility and the capability to deploy smart solutions anywhere. And we've noticed this has been a huge benefit in India due to lack of proper coverage from the cellular space. And the fact that someone can deploy their own private network if they wanted to in farming, in monitoring water on the fields, or relying on a public operator to bring the infrastructure to the smart city space and the water metering at the domestic level. These are the members that are part of this LoRa Alliance. We've got around 600 companies now, to include Google, Amazon, SoftBank, Comcast, Senra, and is also a member. And this number keeps growing. To give you a little insight, in India, this started the movement with Tech Mahindra in 2016, and it's exponentially growing, and this is only dated till about October of 2019, so we actually have more members now since then. Overall, in the APAC region, you're looking at about 140 members. And you'll see one of the latest members is actually an institution, IIT Bombay, that has been supporting this, and they are actually doing water meter project on behalf of the government and have created an amazing ultrasonic water meter solution leveraging the LoRaWAN technology, which, by the way, Senra is supporting from the infrastructure and the connectivity perspective. There's a wide range of use cases for IoT within the LoRaWAN space, and energy and utilities is just one segment that is a perfect case study. And I'll go through a lot of examples that have done globally, and as well as what we're doing in India with the water space coming shortly. I'm also going a little bit fast because of conscience of time. So if I think this could be shared later. If someone wanted to read some more content, please let me know. These are some global deployments with LoRaWAN. You'll see Senra has deployed in 65 cities. There's a company called Viola in France that has deployed 3 million smart water meters. There is deployments from industrial IoT to tracking to wildlife conservation to water management. Electricity metering is just starting, and we're pretty excited about how widely this technology is being adopted. So to kind of get a little bit more granular into why we're all sitting here today, why is LoRaWAN good for the utility space? I mentioned a few already. The flexible deployment options. You can do private networks yourself. A city has looked, and I think Hyderabad right now has floated a tender for private network solution where they want to own the entire infrastructure and provide LoRaWAN for their smart cities. So if someone has the capability and the know-how, they could do their private network. If they don't have the resources or the expertise, they can reach out to public operators like us to help get those projects off the ground. Another thing that I like about it, it's very secure. So you're looking at 128 AES encryption on the data transmission, and now chip manufacturers, module makers are creating secure elements that go directly on the hardware so that a hacker can't hack the device. And in the water space, these devices using LoRaWAN transmission actually are very long battery lives. So you can deploy a smart meter, for example, and never have to worry about it till the end of the life of the meter itself, like 10 years. The architecture is kind of simple, I would say. You've got your smart devices outside on the left-hand side of this screen. They transmit wirelessly over kilometers sometimes. We actually achieved 25-kilometer field testing the other day with a smart ultrasonic water meter, so we were pretty excited about that.
Is that all your own protocol transmission?
The LoRa Alliance deals with the stack of the communication layer, and then there's a company called Simtech that does the transmission modulation called LoRa at the chip layer. And so that information transmits wirelessly through towers, base stations that are located on towers or rooftops. Then it goes into the network server where there's a software that's managing all the data communication. And then it ends into the softwares, the head-end systems for processing and billing and that kind of thing. We have we achieved this week 25 kilometers line of sight with our technology. So open network protocol is one of the key benefits, which leads to flexible network models, which leads to 100% coverage. And why I say that is if you're doing cellular deployments, you can't ask Airtel or Vodafone to bring a new tower because you have a dead spot. And some of these water meters in domestic urban areas are deep inside the homes, sometimes underground, and in very narrow alleyways. And what we've realized is because it's sitting on the unlicensed spectrum, there's no license fees for an operator or a private person that wants to deploy their own. They can bring the infrastructure at a very low cost and supply that coverage that was lacking in the cellular space. You also have the certified program that just launched very recently, and that gives you what? It gives you confidence into the reliability of the device, the smart meter. So I would recommend from the government body perspective, if you are going to deploy smart LoRaWAN solutions, look for and mandate those certified branding, because then you know it will work. You won't be worried or concerned that I'm investing all this money on tenders to purchase a meter that may not work in 2 years or so.
And you have freedom for interoperability.
Absolutely. The interoperability. So the device, if you're using a service provider like Senra and you're not happy with the SLAs or the services, you're more than welcome to go use a different operator with the same device. And then the final thing is the long battery lifetime. So low power, it's not meant for data streaming videos, but it's great in the water space because you're transmitting maximum once a day for the information. And it's usually a very small data packet that's being transmitted. So the final thing is the latency. Because you get the reliable network, you've got the certified devices, now you can provide the proper SLAs for your customers, which are the citizens. And so what I'll do now is jump into some use cases and end with a Senra case study as well. The first one I mentioned already, Viola is deploying over 3 million smart meters in France. They've teamed up with the network operator Orange, and they're deploying that over the next 3 years. In Australia, they're doing flow monitoring with water pipes. at scale, leveraging Lorawan sensors and teaming up with Hunter Water, which is the water board, LNX, and NNN for the communication layer. In the US, we mentioned California. So CNET has deployed full coverage in California for LoRaWAN, and they've teamed up with companies like Trimble Water and Neptune, where they're doing all types of water monitoring in the agricultural space during cropping, to the domestic meter monitoring, and everything in between. And this is one of the examples of pipe monitoring sensors that they're using in the United States. And then us. So we just announced publicly a project we're doing with one of the water manufacturers in India, where we're deploying over 200,000 smart water meters throughout India. And this is one of the examples of their ultrasonic water meter that's going to be deployed. And it's being deployed today in Hyderabad. We're working with the Hyderabad Water Board. We are in Pimpri and several other countries. What's funny is you mentioned it has to work and be India ready, India made, right? Something that will work for the India and maybe not a European product. So when we started this journey in 2017, we actually deployed ultrasonic water meters imported from Estonia, and we deployed it with Wardha, the city of Maharashtra. It was a 41 POC 2017 in their city, all ultrasonic smart LoRaWAN meters. We did a 6-month pilot and it worked beautifully. We did a presentation to the commissioner and we were able to save them 30% of NRW just by monitoring their water. And one thing they were able to identify is that there was theft taking place on one of the main pipe systems and people were stealing the water. And they actually were able to pinpoint where that theft was taking place with this smart technology. And we have a white paper on our website that you can read a lot more technical details on. Aside from that, we're doing a lot of stuff in electricity metering. You can go to our booth outside of the hall. It shows gas meter, water meters, retrofit, as well as the brand new smart water meters. There's an example of an Itron water meter that you just put a device right on top and it starts transmitting it wirelessly. We are doing pipe monitoring in the oil sector now, and we're looking to start doing that into the water space. So the infrastructure is going to be there to enable software companies to take the smart data. I've already talked about certification, so I'll blast through this. And then the final thing I just wanted to mention is we formed an organization with a DLMS on the power space, and now we've been able to be compliant with the IS 16444 standard. And if you're interested in seeing electricity meters leveraging DLMS and LoRaWAN, it's at the booth live. So I thank you all for your help and time in listening to these technology. Thank you.
Thank you very much.